I've had a lot of questions and comments over the years about the types of gear that I use to create my music. I've used pretty much the same stuff for the last, I'd say, like 2 to 3 years. The cool thing is that it's always kind of evolving, and jazz fusion is a very interesting genre because, I mean, historically it's been something that has always been like live musicians sort of participate in. And for me, I'm sort of coming from a background of video game music, but also having done a jazz degree, doing everything with just MIDI and basically just programming everything has really worked out for me. And it just gives me kind of the most freedom and control over the types of things that I want to hear in my music. And my setup is also evolving, very different to what it was like in high school. And I think that's just a natural progression as you kind of learn more and you discover how to do things or become more proficient with things. You end up sort of discovering new pieces of gear that sort of make things more efficient. And the way everything is kind of set up for me at the moment just makes my job as a composer that much easier. All right, let's get on with it. First and most crucial part of the studio is the chair. It's actually just a pretty basic foam cushion, like office chair. This originally did have arms on it. As you can see, I've sort of just ripped them off. Makes it a lot easier for playing guitar. I don't have to like sit like right here. I can actually sit in the whole chair. So now we go to the PC. So I guess this is like the main brains of everything. This is a custom gaming PC that I built and has been ongoing upgrades for probably the past 6 or 7 years. I got into PC gaming when I was in high school, and I don't really play that many demanding PC games these days. I mainly just play, you know, small indie games and visual novels and stuff like that. This is my absolutely devastating cable management. That's actually like a cable management box, which is actually making it a little more bearable than it is. But the problem is that over the years, as I've kind of upgraded things with certain cable lengths as well, they don't all neatly kind of fit into that box. I've just kind of given up on making it tidy. I'm running out of ports on my power strip, and you can't even like see it. It's so backed up. That's actually only one of 3 power boards that I'm running. Other one is over there, which is like another hellscape. I think towards the end of the video I'm going to talk about my plans on sort of what future upgrades I'm looking to make. I've got a footstool I like to put my feet up on, and then that's a sustain pedal for the MIDI keyboard. And then over here, this is just like a standard footrest for like guitar playing. Zoom out.
The main hub.
This is actually just an IKEA desk. Before this desk, actually, I was using a demountable table that you can get from like a camping store or like a like a hardware store or something. Start on the left side, and then we'll just kind of like move this way. Starting with my speakers, these are the Yamaha HS7s, cool seal plush, and my rolled hat on top. The ones I had before this were like some really cheap Boss Tech ones, and they just had absolutely no bass in them. And these ones are kind of known for not being super bassy, but I kind of have other solutions for checking low end in mixes and stuff like that. And now we move to this speaker. This is an Avatone Active Mix Cube. And the point of these speakers is that they're pretty much just like a mini reference speaker. If you're ever wanting to like test the sound of your mix on like smaller sound systems to check for like presence and, you know, mid-range or audibility of certain things. In the closest I've found to like a car speaker, because that's effectively what car speakers are anyway. Air conditioning remote, water bottle, and then we move to, I guess we can talk about the screens. These are AOC. I think these are 27 inch. I believe that this one is a 4K monitor, and then this one is only a 2K. For the longest time, I had a 1080p 24 inch on this side, but sadly that one died a couple of months ago. And then going down to my keyboard, this is a Yamaha MX61. It's pretty much just your basic Yamaha keyboard. It has a whole heap of general MIDI libraries on it, lots of sounds that I like to use in my songs. I've also got the keyboard sort of routed so I can use it as a MIDI device and send MIDI data to my DAW, and then I can also send MIDI from my DAW to this. So if I want to like trigger sounds that are in the keyboard, then I can send the audio basically back through, and then it'll come out through the speakers. So moving along, I've also got an Elgato face cam, and then I've got my Pomodoro timer there, which I use for my guitar practice. This is my keyboard. I actually got this at a Yodobashi in Japan. Can't remember the brand. I'm pretty sure it's on the back of this. Yeah, there it is, VGN Lab. feels like really smooth to type on. I like to have something with a numpad, which is really good for using in Guitar Pro. And then we've got just a very basic SteelSeries mouse there, which I've had probably for the last 10 years. I'm just using this tiny little mouse pad. It's pretty much all I really need. These monitors that I have here, by the way, are actually on arms. It just gives me a little bit more desk kind of real estate. Moving on to the interface, this is a PreSonus Studio 1824C. I got this one about 5 years ago. Specifically wanted something that had a USB-C port on the back of it, which is basically just better for latency. It's got a lot of inputs on it, which is actually kind of overkill for the sort of stuff that I do. The other idea that I had for having like a rack-mounted interface like this is that I want to eventually pair it with like a MIDI interface, which I can then also pair with MIDI sound modules and like tone generators. And having this with 18 inputs on it is basically just going to make it so I can have everything running at once. So those two inputs on the front are for the output of my keyboard. But I've also got it as MIDI in and out here, which is plugged into the back as well. And then moving up to here, this is my Yamaha THR practice amp. I think it's the 10-watt version. And if you ever wonder like the tones that I get in my videos, this is pretty much what I use. And when I record, I basically just have my phone like sitting here. And basically what you're hearing is just the output of the speaker up against the back of the phone. And then I've also got my microphone, USB and XLR inputs on it. And moving over to my headphones, these are the Sennheiser HD 600s. And as you can see, they're very used and abused. They're very comfortable. And I'm thinking for my next set of headphones, I might go for like a closed back design, just because I like the isolation, the sound isolation. And now we move over to this side and we find the XFX2, which I actually bought used off of a auction website here in Australia. And unfortunately the tab here, the little handles that sort of come installed on here snapped off, and the baggage handles were not so gentle with it. Now I've also got this routed, so in the back it's running directly into my audio interface, and then I've also got it running into my practice amp as well. The sound and the tones that I get in my videos is actually that exact like combination of equipment. Got a little Coco Ichiban sticker just peeling off, which is a shame. This is a multi-tool for the Strandberg guitars that I play. This is my laptop, which I got pretty recently. It's a Lenovo ID pad, I'm pretty sure. And I basically just bought this for portability. I've got a bunch of travel that I'm going to be doing this year, so I'll definitely be getting a lot of use out of this. Over here we've got some finger ease, which is just like string lubricant basically. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything in terms of the like hardware setup. I might go and show you some of the plugins that I use in the DAW now. Okay, so this is my recording setup. I use Reaper as my DAW. The way I've got this set up is that everything is kind of bussed and grouped and basically color-coded. So this current project is the one that you heard at the start, which is just this silly Ode to Joy fusion arrangement that I did. Pretty much the way I sort of group everything is just into type of instrument. Light blue kind of sounds up here. These are basically like all of my like keyboard sounds. And I have like electric piano sounds and sort of square waves in unison there. And as far as plugins, I use a whole range of different stuff. Lately, I've actually been using this plugin here, which is called Xband 2. And this is just another like kind of synth and has a whole bunch of general MIDI-esque sound libraries in there. This has been really good because it's super light and doesn't take up too much CPU. The actual sounds themselves are really killer. And then I've got this textures and layers bus here, and this has like basically all my leads and orchestral sort of mallets and bells and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's really pretty. Pretty much like the JB1080 across the board. Just like Xband, it's really light on the system. You can have like heaps and heaps of these open at once and it doesn't put any stress on your computer. Also like Zenology as well. Any sound that you would want is pretty much in Zenology. I've got a lot of the expansions there as well. And then this is just a random 8Dio plugin. I use this for Glock, and these are just a bunch of random contact libraries that I have. And then for bass guitar, I use Trillion. This is the plugin I've used on pretty much all of my releases for bass. If you're curious, this is actually the same bass sound that is used on the Persona 5 soundtrack. Now, drums are always a bit of a mixed bag for me. I tend to kind of use a wide variety of different things. Historically, I've used Superior Drummer, Studio Drummer, and BFD3. So lately, I've actually been turned on to the GGG kits, and these have been really, really good. Currently, I'm using the new metal, the One Kit Wonder. I got that sort of mixed in with some of the drums and cymbals from Modern and Massive as well. So I guess that's like all of the core sounds that I use there. Other things as well is this plugin called RMX, and I tend to use this as a way of adding more percussive elements to my tracks. So on this track in particular, I've got a shaker sound that's going throughout, and then I've also got these kind of like transitional sound effects as well. Now, outside of sound libraries and virtual instruments, I use pretty much across the board FabFilter for any sort of audio processing. I also use a little bit of the isotope plugins as well, in particularly the Imager and sometimes the multi-band compressor. So this is my storage setup, and as you can see, I've got an abundance of different hard drives and SSDs that all kind of have their own sort of purpose. Obviously, I've got my C drive there, and that's just got all my Windows files and just general applications. Google Drive, and then my video archive and backups. That's actually this thing. This is my external hard drive. It's just video archiving, so you know, when I do a video, all the raw footage and everything that I film builds up over the years, and you know, as file sizes start to increase, look at other solutions for storing or archiving a lot of those bigger files. And then my projects, that's just like, you know, any work that I do inside of Reaper, or, you know, pretty much just all my audio related projects. And then I've also got my software, and this is basically a drive that's just dedicated to all my audio plugins that I use, all my VSTs and sound libraries, that's all on that drive. And then my media one, that's just a lot of legacy files and old stuff that I used when I was in university and high school, and just, yeah. And then the last one is my iCloud backup, mainly because I refuse to pay a monthly subscription for storage, or I guess like cloud storage. So anytime my iCloud gets filled, I basically just remove all the files and then just dump it into this hard drive, so I never have to worry about it. Which guitar you want, bro? It's no secret that I'm a Strandberg artist, so hence why all of the many Strandbergs in my possession. So I think we'll start with this one. This was actually the very first Strandberg that I won back in 2017 in a songwriting competition that they put on. So this is the Boden Fusion. It has the HSH and has a floating trem as well. And this one is definitely the most used and abused out of all the guitars that I own. It's got a lot of rust and just general wear and tear on the bridge, and especially on the pickups as well. And speaking of the pickups, these are actually aftermarket pickups. I think the original ones were Sir pickups, AT1 and Andy Timmons in the bridge. This is just a standard Strat pickup, and I think that this one's a Gravity Storm. Given that the NX series of Strandbergs didn't come until much later, this was made in 2016 or 2017 or something. Since then, I've actually replaced a lot of the main components on it. The original nut had each one of the string saddles as like separate pieces of metal, but now this one is just like one strip, and that's just like so much easier and more reliable. And I've installed an extra spring in the back there, just for a little bit more stability for bending. Now the next one is the Boden VR, and this one I've used quite a lot, and I honestly still consistently use this one every day. This one, I believe, was the first model that introduced the NX hardware, and I think I got this back in 2021 or 2022, something like that. So it still has the original pickups in it. This one has a Richlight fretboard. I've installed a Telly knob on here for the pickup selector, just because I like the size of it. These saddles, they're actually harvested off one of my older Boden standard model. But other than that, it's a really, really comfortable guitar to play. I have absolutely no issues with this. Now, another one, which I actually got quite recently, is this one. This is the Boden Essential. and has a whole bunch of updated hardware components compared to a lot of my other ones. And I think this is kind of standardized on their models now. The idea of the Essentials is they're basically like a more budget-friendly version. It still has like a lot of the same hardware core components still on there. This one has the Strandberg pickups, which are also like really good. But yeah, overall, like if you told me that this was like one of their higher end models, I'd probably believe you because it still plays and sounds just as good as any of the other ones that I own. Okay, so the very last Strandberg that I have here is my Boden. So this one is a Japanese-made Strandberg, and I actually went and visited the actual store. It was in a little town called Hamamatsu. Super nice with the tree bells and just really nice coloring as well. I think this is like a resin injected, and of course it's not in the most pristine condition because I do play it quite a lot. So I'll put the specs up on the screen for this one because it's all very cool and unique. And very kind of specific to this particular model. All of these guitars are like hand built and constructed and, you know, over like a series of months, I would say. Absolutely gorgeous instrument, and I'm just so glad to have this in my collection. Now, the very last guitar I'm going to show, which has actually just been lingering in the background the whole time, LTD 87. I've been a really big fan of these guitars for a long time. I wanted to kind of get my hands on one. Problem is that they're just hard to find, especially for a good price. I got this a couple of months ago, and I've just been using it for some slightly heavier stuff that I'm writing at the moment. Really love the pickup configuration on this one. And two of the guitars that I had when I was a teenager were in fact LTD guitars as well. It's actually the first guitar I've had which has been completely neck through. But yeah, it's really cool, super fast, really pointy as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all the guitars that are in my current possession. I've had many others in the past which I've sold or have just been sent to me for like demo sort of promotional stuff. So funnily enough, I'm not really like a guitar collector or anything. These are all just guitars that have kind of served me well over the past 10 years or so. I'd say like all of these guitars, and in particular the Fusion and the DR on the end there, definitely received like thousands and thousands of hours of playtime over the years. Okay, so this is my game setup over here. I've got a silver PlayStation 2 there. Play obviously all my retro PS2 games, which is what I grew up on. And then I've also got a PS4 down there as well, which I use for playing Blu-rays. And then this is the TV that I'm running here. I don't know what the model is, but it's a Panasonic. So I've just got that running, and obviously I use that in conjunction with the PS2 and PS4 as well. Over here I've got a couple of games that I've been playing. Some of those are my sort of childhood classic games, like the Dark Cloud games. I've got a larger collection in another cabinet. And then over here I've just got some like random book stuff. A lot of these books in here I used when I was doing my degree. A bunch of other random transcription books, and probably do another video at some point going over those and maybe organizing them and sort of doing like a bit of a showcase. And then these drawers here are just random. I won't open them because they're very cluttered, but yeah, just like random cables, camera equipment, just tech related items. I think I've got also some hard drives as well that I used to have, which are basically dead at this point, but just like old like archived files and footage and stuff like that. And then up here just got some random books that I'm reading at the moment too. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!